We want to keep God's word. We want to be passionate about his word. We want to grow in relationship. We want to go deeper in our walk with him. We want to be able to say to God, you are my portion. You are my source. But the question becomes, how do we achieve that? How do we get there? How does that happen?
Welkom bij Antwoorden met Bayless Conley. Het leven kan soms een uitdaging zijn. Maar of het nu gaat om financiën, relaties, gezondheid of de vraag naar je doel in je leven, één ding is zeker. God ziet je. Hij houdt van je. En wat er ook aan de hand is, hij heeft de antwoorden op je vragen.
Hello friend, Bayless Conley here. I want to welcome you to the broadcast today. And we have something very special for you. Harrison Conley, who happens to be our eldest son, but he's also the lead pastor of our church right now. He drives the vision, he does the day-to-day, and he is a marvelous preacher. We've been doing this series from Psalm 119 that has been so rich and has so encouraged the congregation. And Harrison brought a brilliant message that we're going to get into right now. So put your seatbelt on, put your helmet on, and let's get ready.
Psalm 119. Beginning in verse 57, and this morning, instead of me just reading it to you or you following along with your eyes on the screen, I thought we would maybe together exercise a different muscle of learning. I thought maybe we could say these verses together. They'll be up on the screen. Would you say them with me? Psalm 119, beginning in verse 57. Ready? Begin. The Lord is my portion. I promise to keep your words. I entreat your favor with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. When I think on my ways, I turn my feet to your testimonies. I hasten and do not delay to keep your commandments. Though the cords of the wicked ensnare me, I do not forget your law. At midnight, I rise to praise you because of your righteous rules. I am a companion of all who fear you, of those who keep your precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of your steadfast love. Teach me your statutes. It's a beautiful grouping of verses, but I love how the psalmist begins. He uses one of the greatest sentences, one of the greatest expressions that I think is in all of Scripture. He says this, verse 57, the Lord is my portion. What a declaration. The Lord is my portion. If you got a pen, maybe you want to underline or highlight that phrase. But hear me, the greatest need in your life is not money, it's not security, it's not influence, it's not power, it's not health. The greatest need in this life and in the life to come is God himself. And I want you to notice the psalmist writes, the Lord is my portion. He's my portion. If you got a pen, maybe just circle that word my. God is not just the portion of his people at large. He's not just the portion of the saints or of the church. The psalmist makes it personal. He says, the Lord is my portion. I am his, and he is mine. This is one of the great mysteries of creation, that the God of the universe desires personal relationship with each and every one of us. Hear me, he knows you. He made you. But he also wants to be known by you. And not just known by you from a second-hand basis. And it's great that you come to church. It's great that you're here to learn about God. But if that's as far as your relationship with God goes, where you check your Sunday box, I'm telling you, it's not enough. It's not enough to just live vicariously through a preacher's relationship with God. It's not enough to live vicariously through a friend or through a parent or through a grandparent's relationship with God. No, God wants to be your God, singular. He wants a personal relationship with you where he becomes your portion and he becomes the source of your life. He wants to know you. And I know that sounds fanciful, and I know that sounds a little ethereal and a cliche statement that a pastor is supposed to make. But for those of us that have actually experienced the person and the presence of God, we know that that statement is anything but cliche. We know it is absolute truth. That he can be my portion. He can be my God. We used to sing a song that highlights that truth, an old song. It's called In the Garden. It says, and he, speaking of God, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me that I am his own. And those that know God, those that truly walk with him, especially those that have walked with him for a lifetime, they know there's no greater truth, and they know that there is no greater treasure in all the universe than friendship with God. The psalmist writes, the Lord is my portion. What he's declaring is that God is his source. He's declaring, God, you're my strength. God, you're my help. God, you're my provision. God, you're my satisfaction. God, you are my comfort in times of affliction. God, you're my peace. God, you're my light. God, you are my wisdom. God, you're my all in all. And if you were to ask David, our author, our psalmist here, say, David, how is it that you've come to this place where you know and you experience God as your portion? How have you got to that place? You know what he would say? He would say, I've come to that place. I know God is my portion because I have kept his word. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what he says in the next line of verse 57, because I've kept his word. Hear me, there are people here this morning that they desire to know God. They desire to experience the power of his presence, but yet they've been unsuccessful. They feel they've been unfruitful in their attempt. And you have to ask the question, well, why is that? Well, I'd like to propose that maybe it's perhaps that although they love God, they don't love his word. They may know a lot about God, but they don't love his word. They don't practice his word. They don't give it its proper place of authority in their life. Let me maybe say it like this. We'll never truly know and or walk with God until his word becomes the greatest desire and the prominent practice of our lives. Hear me. God meets us in the place of his word, and we experience him as our portion. We experience him as our source when we put his word into practice in our lives. And I think most of us that are in here, most of us that are under the sound of my voice, that's actually the deep desire of our heart. We want this. We want to keep God's word. We want to be passionate about his word. We want to grow in relationship. We want to go deeper in our walk with him. We want to be able to say to God, you are my portion. You are my source. But the question becomes, how do we achieve that? How do we get there? How does that happen? Because sometimes my desire for that, yet the daily habits of my life, they don't match up. So how? How do I get to that place where I can honestly say, God, you are the portion of my life? Well, in the next few verses, the psalmist gives us some really practical steps. He makes 6 unique statements, and I want to look at them. And if we'll put them into practice in our life, we'll actually have a heart and a life that is passionate about God and his word. Here's the first thing he says. He says, I entreat, or I seek. Verse 58, he said, I entreat, I seek your favor with all of my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. The New Living Translation puts it like this: God, with all of my heart, I want your blessings. Now, it's not bad to want God's blessings. I don't think that's a bad thing at all, because I really believe God wants to bless his children. But there is a problem with this thinking. And it's a big problem. A lot of people want to experience the blessings of God, want to experience the blessings they find in his word, but they don't want to follow God's word. At least not as a lifestyle. Because most people, I find, will follow God's word when it's convenient for them. They'll follow God's word when they understand it. They'll follow God's word when they agree with it, but yet they refuse to make it their final authority in life, and it's definitely not the daily desire of their heart. I mean, I know people personally in my own world that get upset with God because they feel like he doesn't do what they think he should do when they think he should do it. They've got this concept that God is some sort of cosmic genie up in the sky somewhere that exists to do our bidding. And there's nothing further from the truth. Some people go, well, I did what the word said, but God didn't hold up his end of the bargain. But did you really? Or did you just look at his word like a one-time transaction where if I do this, then God, you're going to do that? Because that's not how the Bible works. That's not how following God works. To follow means there's a pattern of consistency in my life. God's word is not a one-time kind of, quid pro quo. God, I do this, then you do that. That's not how it works. We don't get to use God's word at our convenience. No, following God and following his word means it becomes my lifestyle. Where day in and day out, your word is my greatest joy. Day in and day out, in every moment and question of life, your word is my final authority. And we have to realize too, we follow God's word not just because we want the blessings that are attached to it. That's the wrong heart, that's the wrong motivation. I follow God's word first and foremost, whether I agree with it or not, because I realize God's smarter than me. And because I realize he has my best interest at heart, but I also realize that when I follow his word, when I seek after his word, I get him. I get God, and he's the real treasure. He becomes the portion of my life. Look at verse 58 again. The psalmist says as much. He says this, I entreat or I seek your favor with all my heart. Now that word favor in the original language, it literally means face. It speaks of a person. It speaks of a presence. So David isn't saying, God, look, I'm seeking your blessings. I'm seeking your favor. I'm seeking what you can do for me. No, he's not saying that. What he is saying is, God, I'm seeking your face. More than anything in this world, God, I want you. I want your presence. I want your person. You are my priority here. I don't want the blessing. I want the giver of the blessing. And daily, as we seek out his word, we have to remember that it's not about us. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow because we're really good at making stuff about us. I'm really good at making stuff about me. So the psalmist says, look, God, I seek your face. I'm after your person. I'm after your presence. And I'm after it with all of my heart. So that's the first statement, I seek. Here's the second, third, and fourth statement. We see it in the next couple of verses. He says, I think, I turn, and I hasten, or I hurry. Look at verse 59. David says this, when I think on my ways, I turn my feet to your testimonies. I hasten and do not delay to keep your commandments. So David begins by saying, I think on my ways. And that word think in the original language, it literally means to consider. It means to stare at. It means to come to a realization. The picture that it paints for us is as if someone was holding two things up in the air, considering them, looking at them, considering which is better, considering which is right, measuring these two things up against each other. So what the psalmist is saying, he goes, look, I take my life and I take my thoughts and I take my actions and I take the results of my actions and I measure them up against your word and against your ways. And for us, this is a good daily practice. This is a good daily habit where we measure our ways and our thoughts against God's ways and his thoughts. And when we do, you know, we realize his ways and his thoughts are higher and better and greater than our own. If you're a parent in this place, you understand this concept of differing perspectives. We understand it really well, right? We ask our kids to do something and to do it in a certain way, but oftentimes they want to do it in their own way. They have a differing perspective. And as parents, we see this all the time. We understand this concept really well, yet we do the same thing with God and his word all the time. God goes, love your enemy, forgive those that have sinned and trespassed against you. And we go, let me go. I got this. I'm going to show them. And we don't forgive. We hold on to bitterness because to us that way feels better. But in the end, we end up bitter and resentful. We become easily offended. Proverbs 14 speaks to this as well. It says, there's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is death. So the psalmist encourages us. He says, daily, look, you need to hold up your ways and you need to measure them against God's ways. Measure them against God's word. And if one of them is out of alignment, guess which one needs to make the adjustment? It ain't God. It's you. And the psalmist says as much. He says as much. Look at the next line. He says, when I think on my ways, I make the adjustment. I turn my feet. I turn my feet toward your testimonies or toward your word. So get the progression here. I think, and then I turn. I think, and then I turn. This word turn is the biblical definition for a term we're all familiar with. The term is repentance. Repentance means to turn. And it's not even so much about turning away from something as much as it's turning toward something. Repentance means I'm turning toward God. I'm turning toward his word. I'm turning toward his ways. And as I turn toward him, inevitably I turn away from something else. I turn away from sin. I turn away from my ways and my actions, and I turn again toward you. So the psalmist says, I think about my ways, then I turn my feet. It's this resetting of alignment, this resetting of direction. And the original, picture that this language produces is that of a child following its parent. Like imagine a parent on the beach and the child following behind, the parent's making footsteps. And the picture in the original language is a child jumping from footprint to footprint. This idea of being directly in step with the person that they are following. And what the psalmist is saying, as a daily practice, our prayer should be, God, I want my life to be in step with your words. So show me where to step. Show me how to step. Show me where I should focus, because where my focus is, there my feet will follow. The psalmist goes, I think on my ways, so I turn my feet. I make an adjustment towards your word. And then he says this, I hasten or I hurry to walk and to follow in that new direction. Verse 60, I hasten and I do not delay to keep your commandments. The idea being that once I know the truth, now I pursue it with all of my heart. And here's the beauty of walking in step with God. Here's the beauty of following him in his word, that as soon as we start, we begin to realize that God is not a cruel taskmaster. We begin to realize that God's ways are better than our own, that he has our best interest at heart, that there's joy in following his word. As we get into the next couple of verses, as we look at his next few statements, the psalmist changes gears slightly. He now begins to talk about outside influences that can have an effect on our walk with God. Look at verse 61. I want to highlight a few things for you. He writes and he says this, though the cords of the wicked ensnare me, I do not forget or I remember your law. Verse 62, at midnight I rise to praise you because of your righteous rules. Verse 63, I am a companion of all who fear you and those who keep your precepts. So let's capture this for a second. These verses, the psalmist writes about a couple of outside influences that affect our walk with God. He talks about the cords of the wicked, and he talks about midnight. And in order to kind of combat these outside influences, the psalmist uses two specific statements. He says, I remember, or I do not forget. I remember, and then he says this, I rise to praise. I praise. Let's just look at these really quick. He says, the cords of the wicked, they ensnare me. The New Living Translation translates it like this. It says, evil people try to drag me into a lifestyle of sin. Evil people try to drag me into a sinful mold. To this, the psalmist replies, but I do not forget, or rather, I remember your word. The psalmist is saying that when the world tries to influence me towards sin, God, it's your word that holds me. God, it's your word that brings stabilization in my life. When society tries to squeeze me into its mold, God, I come back to the safety and to the steadfastness of your word. The psalmist goes, hey, look, the world around me is trying to pressure me into looking like it and thinking like it and acting like it. So God, I got to remember to come back to your word and allow your word to shape my life. Here's a little secret for you. You're gonna become just like whoever and whatever you spend most of your time with. And we're living in a world right now that wants to shape you in its image. And just like the psalmist, when we feel that pull from the world, we've got to go back to the word. He says, evil people try to drag me into a lifestyle of sin, but I combat that by remembering your law. We combat it by remembering God's word. But here's the thing, you can't remember God's word if you haven't first studied God's word. If you don't have it in you, it won't come out of you when you need it. When society tries to drag you into the mold, you won't have anything to pull from. The word of God is our anchor. It's our stabilizing point. We've got to get it into us. The psalmist goes, look, if it had not been for your word, if it would not have been for its practice in my life, I would have cratered and caved to worldly pressure. And then he makes this amazing statement. He goes, at midnight, I rise to praise you. At midnight. And he's not necessarily talking about a specific time in the night. He's talking more about a moment. He's talking more about a season of life when things are darkest, when there's confusion, when we can't see our way clearly, when we feel alone, when we feel afraid. At midnight, he says, I rise to praise you. I praise you. What a statement. Think about what he's saying there. Let's apply it in our lives. With everything that's going on in the world right now, I got a question for you. Do you still know how to praise? Have you lost your voice? Do you still know how to praise? And the psalmist goes, I praise God because of his word. Because of his word. Because of his word. Because no matter what's going on around me, no matter the uncertainty of a situation around me, I have the surety and the certainty of God's word. I have the surety that his promises are yes and amen. I have the certainty that all of his promises are forever settled in heaven. I have the surety that he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. I have the testimony of his word that tells me he worked on behalf of people before. And if he did it then, I know he can do it again. I have the surety that says his nature and his character, they don't lie and they don't change. I have the surety of his word. And the psalmist says, at midnight, in those dark seasons of the soul, I stand up. And sometimes you've got to stand up. Sometimes you've got to speak to yourself and say, soul, stand up. Stand up and praise. Before it's easy, before I know what to say, before the answers arrive, stand up and begin to praise. That's when faith gets built. That's real praise. And when we begin to do that, we've got the promise that says God inhabits the praise of his people. He literally takes up residence in the praise of his people. He takes up dwelling. The Bible says that God meets with him that rejoices. The Bible says that in his presence, there's a fullness of joy, and that the joy of the Lord is my strength. The Bible says that where the Spirit of God is, there's freedom and there's liberty. So sometimes in the dark place of your soul at midnight, you got to remind yourself, stand up and begin to praise. And I know that that's difficult. I know that sometimes in those dark seasons, it's easy to lose your voice. That's why the psalmist says in verse 63, I've become a companion of all those that fear you. Listen, there is something about surrounding yourself with people of like precious faith, people that are going to link arms with you and go, I'm not going to let you stay in midnight. I'm going to pull you out and we're going to worship our way through together. There's something about being in church on a weekend and singing together and praying together and learning about Jesus together. Something happens in a corporate setting when we begin to praise. Faith gets built, we move forward, and it changes our perspective on life. It may not change the situation around me, but it changes the way I see it. And then we begin to echo the psalmist when he says in verse 64, the earth, O Lord, is full of your steadfast love. There is something about his goodness. Even when I can't see it, even when I don't feel it, there is something about his goodness. And the psalmist says, I rise to praise. I want the words coming out of our mouth to be words that echo the psalmist. Regardless of what's going on, God, you are my portion. God, the earth, it's filled with your steadfast love. But we need to seek, we need to think, we need to turn, we need to hurry, we need to remember, and we need to praise.
What a marvelous message. God is our portion. You know, the Lord said to Abraham, actually he was Abram at the time before God changed his name to Abraham. Abram means father of height or altitude. Abraham means father of a multitude. But when he was still known as Abram, God said, do not be afraid, Abram, For I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. My friend, when God is our portion, when God is our shield, when He is our reward, when our life revolves around Him, when we realize that He truly is the God who's more than enough, other things just sort of take care of themselves. But that is the most important issue. Have you given your heart to the Creator? And the only way we do that is we come to Him through His Son, Jesus Christ, who died as a substitute on Calvary in our place for our sins, and He was raised from the dead. Put your trust in Him today. You will never, ever regret it. In fact, let me pray for you. Father, I pray for the person that's watching me right now, the one that's discouraged, the one that feels like they're going down for the third time. I pray that supernaturally you would touch them, give them strength, and lift them up by the power of your Spirit. And I ask it in Jesus' name. Thank you to those of you that support the broadcast through prayer and through giving. It's because of what you do that we can do what we do. God bless you richly.
Heb je vragen over de uitzending? Of houd je iets bezig waarvoor we kunnen bidden? Schrijf ons dan of bel ons op. Ons team is er voor je. Hier vind je nog meer antwoorden op levensvragen. Er is elke dag een nieuwe overdenking van Bayless, die je online kunt lezen of die je per e-mail kunt ontvangen. Als je op de hoogte wilt blijven van de preken, kun je je abonneren op ons kanaal. God zegen.